Hey guys, Tyrish here. Welcome back. I want to just start off by saying thank you for all the love and support. I knew you guys were hungry for some Holo on YouTube, but damn, you guys were really hungry. Um, anyways, I just wanted to actually touch base on that last video quickly before getting into this, and I made two slight mistakes in that last video. One was when I said that hot would be the only exchangeable currency for fiat during the exchange. I meant to say during the swap. But even that being said, and this goes into the second mistake I made with the short and long-term investment, is that we don't know what the swap holds. We still don't. Like, we can sit and try to imagine what's going to and make all these rumors, and it's fun to do. It is really fun to try to like think about what the future holds for Holo. That being said, we don't. So hot in itself is a for sure thing. So at this moment in time, if you're waiting for Holo Fuel or you're waiting to see what happens, I wouldn't. As like we know hot is for sure, Holo Fuel's coming, and when the exchange happens, when the swap happens, it's kind of annoying with the name of the exchange being exchange and it being a synonym for swap. Anyways, so you get the point of that. Let's get into here. 3 simple reasons to HoloLove Holochain. Once again, this is based off my research. It is in no means fact. So I would say, obviously, do your own research, come to your own conclusions. This is just mine, and I'm presenting it to you. And as well as with this first point, I really hope it's wrong. I really do. And I hope someone can do math better than I can and tell me that I am way off, because if this is true, why is Elon Musk supporting Bitcoin so hard when he's supposed to be some sort of messiah in the energy field with his sustainable energy program? That said, well, let's get into here and go into the environment. Number 1 on the reasons to HoloLove Holochain. 1 Bitcoin takes 10 minutes on average to mine. Now, this is like if you used your computer, obviously it would take a lot longer than 10 minutes, but people have constructed these monstrosities in order to mine Bitcoin at a high rate, and pretty much the average rate of these monstrosities is 10 minutes, as well as these monstrosities have really destroyed many industries, like the gaming industry, with hoarding these graphics cards. So once again, little Timmy will not be getting a 3080 for Christmas. Thank you, Bitcoin miners. Thank you very much. Anyways, so in that 10 minutes, the amount of energy that that Bitcoin takes to mine this is 72 terawatts of energy. That's a lot. And to put that into perspective, the average household uses 900 kilowatts of energy per month. Per month. Now, how many kilowatts are in a terawatt, you might ask? 1 billion. 1 billion kilowatts per terawatt. Therefore, in 10 minutes, the average Bitcoin costs our energy grid the same amount of strain as 80 million homes do in a month, on average. We're talking averages here. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. I think I read somewhere that 1 Bitcoin uses like the monthly power or yearly power of Switzerland or something like that. Like, it's fucking crazy. It's literally out of this world. Anyways, going over to a holo port, and that is how you obtain holo fuel in the future. Will be through the holo ports. I know there's a lot of people saying, can you mine holo fuel and stuff like that? Kind of. It's the same idea where you're giving up resources on your computer in order to then be paid via the cryptocurrency for your services. So in that aspect, yeah, you're kind of mining by giving up your resources, but it's more like selling. You're selling hardware, you're selling your storage, you're selling your internet to developers and whatnot in order to run their apps, their data, store their information. So in that sense, you are then obtaining hollow fuel for that. So in the sense of like mining, that is the similarity right there. The big difference is, and I honestly was going to do the math for this, but it kind of like was a little bit beyond me. I'm guessing just move the decimal place a couple zeros here, but one holoport can run 24/7, so for an entire week, and its average consumption of a holoport is 15 to 45 watts. Like that's just like the single unit. Like when we're talking about a kilowatt, that's 1,000 watts, right? So right there, for an entire week, we're running at 15 to 45 watts on the high end, 45 watts. So when we look at a Bitcoin using in 10 minutes 72 terawatts, I return to the point of like, how is someone like Elon Musk, who is trying to promote green energy and renewable energy, as well as like the electric industry, when something like this is so devastating to our environment by how much energy it is currently using. If that is not enough for you to make the swap over to the Holo side, speaking of which, I actually just watched something, and I think a lot of people need to hear it. I just watched an Instagram thing with Mary saying that Holo fuel isn't the currency of Holochain. Holochain is a product of Holo, and Holo fuel is the currency that Holo uses to use their network on the Holochain ecosystem. So hopefully that clears some confusion there. Anyways, going into 2, the organic ecosystem. This right here is what actually got me into it. I watched a video, I think Arthur was the one narrating it, I'm not sure, but it went into how they are trying to make the connection between all of the holoports or the nodes organic, like an act organic, as in like mushrooms underneath the ground. They create a neural web almost, and how they communicate, and it looks like a sporadic mess, but it's actually like just an ingenious community of network that if you were to walk through a forest and there's mushrooms around you, they know you're coming because they sense you just by the disturbance in the ground, and they all communicate with one another. If you were to sever one of those webs, which is actually, I'll get into that in a minute. If we look at blockchain, you have 8 computers, right? 8 computers all working to mine a Bitcoin. Now, all of them have to go back to the same middle point, and each chunk of data that they are computing basically has to go. They all have to go into the center, and then after they get there, the center will basically confirm all of the calculations, send it back out to the network, and then they will do it again, send it back out, back in, back out. It's a very inefficient method, like extremely inefficient, and that's why we get this huge strain from section 1 here. Now, if we look at Holochain, I started drawing the web. It looks like a giant mess, and it is. I just stopped in the middle because you get the point. You have 8 computers here, and you've got 1, 2, 3 shitload of connections here, and that's exactly what it is basically each computer is connected to each computer. So one computer is making 7 connections. And they're able to all interact with one another very efficiently. And this is obviously, I guess you would say it would be more than 7 times more efficient than blockchain. Like we're talking like thousands of times more efficient when you're talking about the exponential value of the amount of connections available. Anyways, so back to the mushroom theory is kind of like synapses in your mind with the neurons trying to communicate with all the different sectors of your brain. If one is severed, actually, then the mushrooms will then re-navigate the information around and refine their connection. Same with your brain. It'll try, although our brains aren't even very good at that. And the fact is, like, our brains aren't that good at it. Mushrooms have figured it out. we're figuring it out this way. So our external information, not our internal information, is going to be more efficient. Essentially, as soon as, like I said, one connection, if it gets severed by an outage of like a network or power or something like that, it will then relay that information through the network and find its way back around. So that's I think that was probably one of the coolest things. It's just the way that we are going to communicate and how the network interacts with itself and kind of evolves to circumstances, which is really nice. Like if you knocked one of these computers out, they're gone. They're out of the hash table. Like they're gone. So now we're going to go over to 3. 3 is more for, I feel like, the upcoming generations. This is something that generations before my generation never had to really deal with as much. There are like the circumstances of like in the 1980s, I saw a meme where a lady was like, I think my house is bugged. And then now in these days we have like Alexa and Google Home and stuff like that. And we go, hey, look at my house. It's bugged. It's beautiful, isn't it? That being said, I gotta stop saying so no more spying on your data. Like, no, that's incredible. They just can't. So like I said, it's like this huge dispersion of data over the network. They think of it as like BitTorrents, P2Ping in that kind of sense, is where it's fragments of information kind of scattered all over the different holoports, and only the algorithm and the computer requesting it via the algorithm knows how to take those fragments and return it to you in a sense that you can then view it. And whereas like if someone was to open up a holoport, take it off and be like try to grab that information on there, it would just be fragments, and your computer would have no idea what to do with those fragments. And even if you could, you'd probably just end up with some weird kind of like fetish thing, and it'd be just like some dudes, you know, like balls from behind, and just like that person who's trying to spy would just get, yeah, he'd get teabagged pretty good. Anyways, back to the information, freedom of information. Your information's yours. Talk about what you want. Two consenting adults should be able to exchange information freely. I don't understand why, well, I do understand why governments are so scared about us talking and communicating freely. They don't want, anyways, that's a conspiracy thing for another time. I'm not going to get into that. We all know about that. And then to finalize it, no more being sold as a piece of data. It kind of goes into like the freedom of information aspect of it all. You are no longer a number. You are no longer just data that companies see like, okay, this is 10001's data, highest bidder buy it, right? Like that comes from this geolocation. He's been to these locations. Like, do you want this data? Is this data interesting to you? Here's his information. And literally it's all being sold. That's why when you open up Facebook these days, you see an ad of something that you were just thinking about. Your information has been sold, modified, and rigorously put through AIs to know you better than you know yourself. Like Amazon knows what you want to buy before you even want to buy it. And going back to the home being bugged, they know exactly what you're talking about, and they have that information. No more of that. So with that being said, the Holo network relieving that kind of system and making you a human again. Yeah, you are human. And this goes into why people, when you see those GIFs and stuff like that, are saying like a more human internet. This between here and here, it's a lot more organic. It's a lot more human. It becomes more of a network, a community of humanity, as it was supposed to be. Like, that's what the age of information should be, is where information is free and shared, and it has never been more censored and controlled than ever. We need this internet, and honestly, the only thing that's standing in the way is really nothing. Like I've mentioned in a previous post, Holo is an unrelenting force. It is unstoppable. It's coming. You can try to buy up all the Holo ports you want and stop it and slow it down, but it's coming. So whether you invest now, a year from now, wait till the swap happens to see what happens, it's all up to you, but just keep an eye on this technology. And yeah, other than that, make HoloLove, guys. I said poop, mother.